on audience interaction and suggestions, which will see an evening of off-the-cuff hilarity. That's the side-spitting comedy fest titled Whose Line, taking place at the Gateway Hotel tonight. It will be hosted by comedy legend John Vlismas, who now joins us from our Durban studios to tell us more. John, it's great to always have you on the show. Very good morning. Thanks for making the time today.
Thanks for having me. It's lovely to be here. Don't call me a legend. It makes me sound like a senior citizen.
George, so for people who may not necessarily be familiar with the concept of whose line is it anyway, how would you explain it to just the average Joe?
So a lot of people think that improvisation is this really dangerous, difficult skill. But the truth is that we have these conversations every single day. People improvise every time they open their mouths. So what it is just allows the audience a chance to give us suggestions, and then we listen to those, and then we create new scenes based on what the audience wants. So the whole show becomes an evening where the audience is kind of involved in crafting the show. It's a lot of fun, and the cast is really good and very, very funny at doing this particular kind of thing. So we can't wait. And also, you see it all the time in Parliament. I mean, there's suggestions from one party, the other party makes jokes, they throw them back, you know, the other party yells at them. So it's very much along the lines of what the government policies are anyway.
All right. Tell us about the cast. Who are they and what do they bring to the show that gives it that added oomph?
So the cast is just a bunch of comedians who've got some theatre experience. You've got Jim Atkins, a Durban guy. You've got Rob van Vuren from Cape Town, who's incredibly funny. He's done the show quite a few times. He's done a lot of improv anyway before. And then, of course, I'll be hosting it to make stuff happen. You've got Masood Boomgard, who's another Durban guy with a lot of theatre experience. So between us, it's quite a mad bunch. And normally Durban audiences can be relied on to give us really, really good suggestions, because everyone's kind of in the holiday mood, so it should be quite good.
Well, speaking of suggestions, I mean, there are a lot of things that South Africans generally talk about, from politics, as you mentioned earlier. Race is always something that pops up. Are there any topics or suggestions that you are looking forward to getting, things that really make John Vlismas laugh or want to have a chat about?
I think there are quite a few. I think most of them revolve around the Zondo hearings, because it's like a mound of ants. Every day we have more mud that kind of gets scraped out the way, and more local figures get kind of sent scurrying like lunatics. You know, every time we hear about another political party who supposedly has been very moral, suddenly we find out about some EFTs, I think they're called, or are they EFFs? I don't know. But the point is that there have been some very strange cash payments to all sorts of people, from Helen Ziller to Floyd Shivambu. So, in fact, it's pretty much royal game.
Well, looking at the comedy scene, I mean, you've been doing this for quite a while now. You've got a lot of experience behind you. You've got a big, funny bone, if I can say so. Looking at the comedy landscape as it is and going into the new year, who are some of the young up-and-coming acts that you've personally enjoyed seeing and would like to see grow?
I think what's exciting about comedy is that there's some major ground being broken right now. Loyiso Gola's just done some major work overseas. He had his first live at the Apollo. His Netflix show is coming out. He's just had over 1 million views in 4 days online. So he's exciting from an international point of view. Robbie Collins just opened for Dave Chappelle in South Africa. I think a lot of people should look out for Robbie in the future. I've just toured Australia with him. He genuinely is a world-class talent. There's Alfred Adrian coming out of Johannesburg. He's amazing. Tenjiwe Mosley has just come back from the UK, and she's kind of doing a lot of work locally, specifically in Zulu. She's amazing. There's just so much talent, and it's just exploding. Even Durban, where I come from, where, you know, for many years it was felt that just like Cape Town, there was a drought, but a drought of comedy is not true. There's a lot of great talent coming out of Durban. Jim Atkins is amazing. And we've got Neil Green. There's just so much. It's like an ice cream parlor. There's so many flavors of comedy that are just being born all the time. So I would say look out for SA Comedy in 2019. On a global scale, you're going to start seeing some action.
All right. So whose line is happening tonight? Where can people get their tickets? Where can people get their info? And generally, what are you promising audiences that come through?
Right. It's a completely unique night of comedy. It's the last night of the Durban Comedy Festival, so that's very important. You won't get anything after this. There'll be no comedy, so that's important. Go to CompuTicket to get tickets. You can get them at the door, but don't risk it, because if you get a parking at Gateway in the evening near Christmas, that's already a win. You've won the lotto. So rather know that you've got your tickets. Go to CompuTicket and get them. There are some left for tonight. Honestly, you will see a show tonight that is shaped in front of your own very eyes by you, and will never be repeated ever again by some of the funniest people I've ever worked with. So it's just a win-win-win-win-win-win.
Well, John, it's absolutely amazing that the audience can be part of curating, you know, a comedy show for themselves, and they can laugh at actually what comes out from, you know, their own suggestions. Thank you very much. It's Vlismas for Christmas. Have a merry Christmas, John.
Well, always nice talking to you. Thanks.
All right, that's comedy legend John Vlismas, who will host the hilarious improv comedy show where 4 top comedians make everything up on stage based on audience interaction and suggestions, titled Whose Line. It's taking place